You have just tapped into the Christian Life Coach Collective, and I'm your host, Laura Malone. I'm here to equip and encourage coaches in skills, business, personal life, and faith. I believe you're already 100% worthy and capable, and you're called for such a time as this. So let's get you walking it out with courage and confidence so you can be an amazing coach who sees transformation and great results in both your life and the lives around you. Let's get started. I hope that you're having a really beautiful spring because it is April and everything is going off. It's so green and there's pink and my peonies or peonies, whatever you say, they are in full bloom and they're so special to me because I planted them like 3.5 years ago waiting for the bulb I dug a hole in the ground for to go off, and they're finally like the pink ones that were in my backyard when I was growing up as a kid. They're in full bloom and they smell so, so good. And I hope you have something in your life that is like that, that's so, so good, that brings you joy when you see it or smell it or hear it or taste it. I don't know, Cinco de Mayo is coming up, so tacos are on the top of my tasting and seeing that it's good list. If you don't have something like that you can think of right now, I suggest you go find it. Like, let that be a challenge today. Go find a thing that you can taste and see that it is good. And God is good in it. So today I want to talk about myth number 16. I've got 20 myths that I've been going after busting in this series, I guess. Pretty crazy to have a series of something that is like 20 long. I've done some series on different things like the greenhouse series, all about like the Sokoka system, all of these different things. But I've never done one that was really 20 long. I could probably keep adding, but I'm actually excited to get to what's happening and what we're going to dive into after these 20 myths are busted. So I know that all of these things are things that come up for you at some point. Some, maybe not all of them, but they all came up for me at different points. And in paying attention to what my clients go through, what their resistance is, what they think is an obstacle, these are the greatest ones that keep, I think, recurring. And today we're talking about one that some people believe that's rooted in, I don't know, I think for some people it's a lie. Some people it's just like misinformation. But some people believe they have to perfect their message as a coach and their process before sharing their work or saying they're a coach or putting anything out in the world and talking to anybody. Here is the absolute reality. And this, I know, this is beyond business coaching, beyond coaching coaches. This is every life coach experience. I would say all, or at least 95%. There's always a measure of this reality that when I bring it into coaching, it challenges clients, and it's definitely for a lot of people an aha moment, that action creates clarity, not the other way around. Clarity doesn't come before you've done something. Clarity comes because you did something. You have hindsight. And no amount of thinking or dwelling or marinating alone is going to prepare you like having real world experience in any area of your life. So as a coach, if you've ever thought, I'm not ready to call myself a coach yet, not till I figure out like my exact niche or define my, the word that everybody uses, not signature method, proprietary method. Please, I just can't even use the word proprietary. I am a solopreneur. Nothing needs to be proprietary. I am the proprietor. It's such a weird word. Or if you've thought like, I have to build my framework and system, I have to know how to explain it all very perfectly, you're not alone, because that is a myth that's constantly whispering to a lot of very capable and very gifted and highly called coaches. And it's very sneaky because it's cloaked in something that sounds like it's wisdom or humility. But I find that in reality, it's really fear cloaked as preparation, right? We're just being prepared. And we have to be honest with ourselves. Ask, are you really not ready? Like in the logistical sense, or are you actually just really scared to be seen and known before you have created and polished everything? But if you have already walked people through change and transition and into growth, if you've already been encouraging people and asking really great questions and holding space and helping people get unstuck, and if you've already seen fruit from the way you show up in your conversations, then you're already coaching. You might not have a name for that process. You might not have every detail of your proprietary message refined and defined, but coaching isn't something that begins once you finally have the perfect Canva branding and graphics that match this perfect elevator pitch that you've crafted. Coaching begins the moment you start helping people grow. Coaching is this different than business. It's different than marketing. It's different than branding. It's talking to people. This myth is something that keeps you circling and cycling and waiting for more clarity when what you actually need is permission to start before all of the things make sense. So, the truth is that clarity doesn't come before action. It comes because of action. So when you speak out loud what you know to be true, when you try to explain what's on your heart, even though it's imperfectly explained, when you work with real breathing people and let your own story and journey shape that language, that's when the message gets clearer and the process begins to get created and then refined. Like I always say, you can't refine something that you never have a rough draft of. You can't go from it's a thought to it's a refined perfection. There's always an in-between. You can't get past it. You don't get to skip over that. And honestly, in hindsight, you're going to know you don't want to. So if you've ever sat and like spent an hour or 3 on your Instagram bio and you keep refining it to find the one line that explains exactly what you do and hooks everybody who comes to your bio, or if you open up a document and you start organizing that coaching framework that you've got, stuck in your head, you do a brain dump, but then you chuck it because it feels messy or incomplete or confusing, and you start feeling like judgmental and condemning towards yourself. Or maybe you think, who am I to say I can help anybody? Even though you're already helping people, then you get what I'm talking about. Because I've totally been at that place feeling stuck and overthinking and waiting for the perfect moment to start sharing about my coaching practice. You know what I mean? In fact, there's a really big chunk of time I couldn't even share about my coaching business because it was still just, I think, what I would have called a desire. Even though I had my LLC and I had started a website, I had a domain and blah, blah, blah. I still just had this desire to coach. I didn't have what I would have called a real practice or a business. I just had such a strong desire to coach, and I was just taking the little baby steps and doing what I thought I had to do because it didn't really have direction. Like, that's why I've built the Sokoka system and the Called to Coach course and the Greenhouse course. Like, I want to help you get further down the road than it took me to get. Like, it took so long to get down the road and just start doing what I love doing because I was so confused about all of these other things that I thought I had to do to get to do what I wanted to do. It was a dream that I felt like I was stepping into, but not a full-fledged business. And it seemed more like I was trying to be a business owner for such a long time and trying to be a coach, but I wasn't acting like either one of them. And a lot of that stemmed from my belief that I wasn't really a coach or an entrepreneur until things like my message and my process were completely perfected. And I know that nobody ever actually told me that, but I can see in hindsight that I taught it to myself. It came from my own belief system, my paradigm. I can tell people I'm a coach when I have a full schedule of clients and a very profitable business. That's what I thought. That was my paradigm. That's honestly like saying I have permission to go to the gym once I've gotten into the best shape of my life, which is ridiculous. And I didn't know at that point that I was operating from that belief system, and you might not be aware of it until this podcast episode either. So I really want to help you know that perfection isn't your goal. It's the progress and the actions that are part of your journey. Those are the goals. I want to normalize it for you because a lot of aspiring coaches are struggling with this belief system, this myth. And it's important for you to begin giving yourself permission for the process and know that clarity and confidence will grow through action, not endless preparation and overthinking. So here's an example. If a coach were to spend months, and I know they do, I know that you might be doing this, creating and fine-tuning her website and designing expensive business cards and maybe even multiple sets of business cards because they didn't turn out the way you want them. But not telling anybody that she's a coach or even working with a single client. That's an example of this cycle. So when she finally does work with a breathing client, she begins to realize that the process it needs to be tweaked anyway, and she would never have known that without the breathing human client in front of her. So what if she had just started with humans instead of websites and business cards in the first place? Because the humans you work with, they are the ones that dictate what you put on your business card and your website. And why we don't? It's because humans are so scary in our brains. And it's normal to want to perfect things so that nobody has a reason to judge or reject you. But the people problem you're facing is that no matter how hard you try to remove all possibility of people judging or rejecting you, is that they're always going to. Regardless of your striving to prevent judgment and rejection, they're going to judge and reject you if they want to. You can't stop them, remember? All you can do is change your own mind. You can't change somebody else's. And trust me, I know. Ask any coach or entrepreneur, any influencer or thought leader or a pastor or a missionary or content creator or boss. People will keep peopling, and there's nothing you can do to stop them. But once you get past that thing that keeps stopping you about people, that fear of man, that's when you actually start really rolling down the street. The car picks up speed. So why keep waiting for perfect in a world you can't control with your perfection anyway, right? Perfectionism is only going to delay the valuable lessons you need to learn. Let me back up. The valuable lessons you need to learn from actual client interactions. If you don't learn these lessons because you're just so successful all of the time, you will fail harder and faster, and you'll have road rash all over your face. You need to learn the lessons. You need the failure. It's what builds the muscles you need to keep going. So you're always going to have a season of experimenting and practicing. And then you're going to go through it again when you offer a new method of coaching or a new program or anything you create for the rest of your life and in your business. And it's really fun if you let it be and you let go of the need for your self-protection and self-provision that you think you can manipulate. That's the only word I can think of. Through your perfectionism. So if you spend years or months thinking about how you're going to coach people, who you're going to coach, what's your niche, figuring out how to be a better coach, while you're thinking, you're not actually coaching people. Therefore, you're not getting experience, and you aren't going to know who you want to coach or how to be a better coach or finding a niche. You can't, because you're not coaching people. So without all this information and experience, you cannot coach or make money, and you definitely can't make a living. If you don't tell people you're a coach, how coaching is valuable, what is your offer, how to take action to become a client and work with you, and then show up. Like, if they can't do those things because you're not saying anything, you don't have a coaching business, and you cannot make a living working for yourself, and you need to change what you think your true goals are. So I want to encourage you to take imperfect action now, and don't lose sight of this dream. Start right where you are, even in the messiness and the awkward, and start reaching out to people who express any kind of interest in growth or personal development or coaching in any area of life, or anything you can help guide them through and into. It doesn't matter if they are like they're looking to reach the exact goal that you've reached before, or that you think you can help them with. Just help them reach a goal. You do not need a website for this. You just need a way for them to schedule a time and pay you. That's it. I promise. Everything else you build before telling people you're a coach is helping you buffer and keeping you protected. So it's all internal, because the external side, on the external side, those things aren't necessary. And you can tell me you don't believe me. You can tell me, like, no, I really need business cards and a website before I can ever do anything. But I know it is not true. I know for myself and for many of my clients, you don't need those things to get clients and to make money and to do what you're called to do. You could potentially make tens of thousands of dollars or more without ever buying a domain or choosing a logo. More on that in the next episode. But I want you to know that nobody's hiring you for your perfect message or process. They have no idea what you're measuring against or where you've set the bar. So your message and your process develop over time because you work with people and find out what you need to know in order to refine them, not because you sit by yourself and think. Clients hire you to listen, to ask, to care, to hold space and help them grow. And everything you're worried about on this other side of things will evolve naturally as you actually engage with them. So start with just little actions and experiment and build those consistency muscles. Start posting wherever you like to be about beginning your coaching journey on social media. Talk about what it's like to do something new and scary and how you are personally overcoming the fears and taking action. This helps people to get to know you, learn from what you're sharing, set you up as a coach who does your own work, and see that you actually really get them. Start offering a free discovery call to help yourself start verbalizing what you offer as a coach. It's a really great place to start describing what coaching is and how it can help people, because a discovery call is not a coaching session, right? That's why it can be free. It's because it is set there for people to discover coaching. Then, if you want to coach people, offer some low-cost sessions as you start experimenting and learning, and make it an R&D season of your business and use it well. R&D is research and development, by the way. Then think about how you can create a simple offer of a single session and a package of sessions, even if it's just 4, that you feel comfortable beginning to offer people. Your perceived failures are the lessons that offer the most value to you in your growth as an entrepreneur and a coach, and they're going to shape your future in business more than any continual success ever will. And I want you to remember this too. Your first clients are usually never your ideal clients that you want to work with forever. Those people, your ICA, ideal client avatar, right?
they begin coming to you after time when you dial in your messaging and process because you worked with people. But you're never going to speak to them or work with them if you don't first start coaching some real breathing humans. So do anything and everything you have to do as a coach to coach as many people as possible so you get the experience you need to become a better coach and somebody with a more refined process and a more clear message. Working with clients in any way will always help refine who you are best suited to serve in the future. Your message is allowed to evolve from nothing to something. Your process is allowed to grow. And you are allowed to take up as much space as you need to as a coach while that happens. You can be a coach without a message and a coach without a process as you grow into it. But you don't get to skip the messy middle. It's where the gold is and your voice is being forged and the message developed. And it's where you discover the words that actually connect with people instead of the ones that you think you should use. Because if you're the only one with a thought process about what you've said, you have no information. You just still have you. Perfection is not a prerequisite for purpose and calling. So let me say this to you clearly. You don't need to perfect your message to start sharing it. You don't need a perfected 5-step process to start calling yourself a coach. And you just need a little bit of courage that I'm handing to you right now. You have permission to hold courage in your hand and start before you feel fully ready. And let's define ready as feeling certain and competent. You don't have to be certain or competent. It's not normal to be certain and competent fully before you ever put the next step, the next, foot forward. And if you're showing up with a heart to serve and a willingness to learn and a commitment to honor other people and their stories, then you're already doing this right. That's what matters. So remember that taking action creates clarity and builds the momentum that you're waiting for. The clarity does not come before the action. The momentum doesn't come before the action. You have to push the ball, and then it gains momentum. And then you get clarity about what direction it's going to go, right? Perfectionism is an illusion and a lie and unnecessary. And your clients care more about your ability to help them than about all of the polished details that you are so focused on and using to buffer when you are really dealing with these scary emotions of fear. Just face the emotion. It's okay. It's normal. It's not there forever. And then decide you're just going to keep going on. So my challenge to you is announce your coaching calling or services to your spheres of influence, anybody around you, even if you feel unprepared. Maybe especially if you feel unprepared. Well, just get through the weirdness. Do it so often, and the next week, tell everybody you're a coach and get past the weird feeling. You're going to feel it no matter what. Why wait a year? Offer a discovery call about coaching and/or one free session to somebody who needs help. And maybe draft what we call a warm letter, like this simple, informal email to your friend or a coworker explaining what you're wanting to do and how you can help them. And then I want you to actually reflect on what did you learn from all of that action taking, what surprised you, and how did taking action actually make you feel? In the next episode, we're going to tackle the myth that in order to be legit in this industry, you need to have this big launch or that perfect website or that proprietary program ready to go. So I hope that this series is really helping you rise up to be encouraged to know that what you feel and experience and fear and worry about, it's all normal, but also you can keep going. I want to make this so simple, so possible for you. I know that it is. I just want to infuse that belief into you. All things are possible. Everything's figure outable. Book a session with me if you are not sure and you want to work through it. If you're struggling with any of these myths and you can't get yourself to change your mind about it, but you know you heard truth and you want it, then let's coach you through it and get you to the other side so you're actually walking in your calling. You're starting to really create an income and making an impact in the world around you, because I know that's in your heart, or you wouldn't be here. So, all right. Love you, friends. Talk to you next week. Bye.
Thanks for listening. For more coaching resources and to learn how to work with me, head to sterlingandstonementoring.com or click the link in the show notes. Remember, walk boldly in your calling, and I'll talk to you next time.